welcome back. Today I'm talking about cloth wipes, more specifically using them as reusable baby wipes, aren't we? So this is a standard cloth wipe. It's basically just a mini flannel. This one's looking a little bit threadbare. Used it for a long time now. Got some newer ones here that are slightly bigger. And basically I'm here to sing their praises. If you have ever done a ethical swap or an environmental swap, like switching from baby wipes, and that's not even your thing and that's not why you're thinking about it, I just encourage you to use cloth wipes because they work so much better than disposable wipes. I've used cloth wipes since my daughter was born. Since her first wipe, I've never used disposable wipes on my children. And then I was passed a disposable wipe one day, just out of, my daughter was very messy with a yogurt and someone passed me one very helpfully. And I used it and I couldn't believe how rubbish they are because I had to use several to clean her up. Whereas with one cloth wipe, I would clean her completely up, then I'd probably clean the high chair with it and clean the table potentially before I chucked it in the wash because they work so well. Also, getting to the nitty gritty, if you're cleaning up poopy, then cloth wipes are more grippy and they just clean everything really well. So if that sounds good to you and you want to switch, whether that's just because they're more practical or for environmental reasons because you don't want to use disposable plastic wipes anymore and to save a ton of money, then this video is for you. So how do we go about using them? There's several ways you can. All we do is we have our pile of wipes, put them next to our sink in the bathroom. And when I need one, I grab one off the pile, I run it under the tap and I use it straight on baby's bottom. So that's really easy. It's not a faff. While I'm walking upstairs to get a nappy, I grab a wipe and wet it and take it back downstairs with my nappy or wherever I'm going to change baby. If I'm going out and about, I wet a handful, so I probably grab all of these and wet all of these. And then I put them in a wet bag. You can buy wet bags from Cheeky Wipes or from Baba and Boo or from any cloth nappy company really sell wet bags, big and small. So I've got big wet bags for dirty stuff, which includes our nappies, and I've got smaller wet bags that I just wet these and put them straight in. In fact, I've got an example here. This is a close parent one. I really love the close parent ones because I find that they're the most waterproof. So I use that. I've also got a small one here from Baba and Boo, so that's quite a nice pocket sized one. You could also just put your wipes in your bag dry, in a little pocket in your bag and wet them as you go, whether you've got a water bottle when you're taking out and about or if you're in a public changing, baby changing area, you can just run them under the sink and then they're fresh to go. We also have a pile in our kitchen, them to wipe hands and faces after meal times. We can just grab one, run it under the kitchen sink and use it straight away. A little tip if you're using them to clean pooey bottoms, when they're pre-weaning or quite little like this one and they have runny poos, it's absolutely fine to just wipe their poo because it's runny and put it straight into the wet bag or into a dirty box that you might be storing them in and then wash them. But if you've got an older child and poo's a bit more mucky, a bit more ploppable, I often just wipe first with some toilet roll and throw that into the toilet. So I just change in the bathroom, wipe them, throw that in the toilet and then clean them nice and clean with the cloth wipe. And honestly, the cloth wipe just works so much better than disposables. I can't recommend them enough. So what do we do about washing them? If you're using cloth nappies as well, like we are, you can simply chuck them in the wash with the cloth nappies. So if you've got a nappy bin or you're using a wet bag, you can just chuck them in with it and wash them exactly as you would your cloth nappies. That is absolutely fine. If you're not using cloth nappies, then you could opt for a box like this from Cheeky Wipes. That could be any kind of box you have in your house with a lid, I recommend, so it's not, there's no smells coming out, although I don't find you get those from cloth wipes anyway, but it's quite nice to put something with a lid on. And if you can put a mesh bag in, so you might want to go with the Cheeky Wipes one because it does come with a mesh bag. It makes it a bit simpler. We have a cloth nappy bin that from Top Spots that you can put a mesh bag in, so that could also be useful. Something like that, you might want something smaller. You can then just lift the entire mesh bag out, or if you're using a wet bag, just unzip it, put it straight in the wash. If you are using it for dirty bottoms, you might want to put that on a rinse cycle, so just a 30-minute rinse or pre-wash. any kind of short cycle, just to get any yuck off. And then you can put normal clothes, any kind of washing in with them. They can be washed as normal. And as you do as your normal washing, you don't need to worry about it being extra, like with cloth nappies, doing really hot wash. Just your standard, whatever it may be, 40-degree, 2-hour wash that you do on your normal clothes will be absolutely fine for white. You can then dry them. If I've got room on the washing line, I hang them up. If I don't, I just put them in a pile wet, and then they kind of dry a bit, and I wet them as I go anyway. I do recommend you drying them maybe every couple of weeks at least, because if they stay wet for too long, they could end up a bit damp smelling or mildewy. So it's just good to dry them every now and again, but that's really not a problem. It's just hanging them up with the rest of your washing, as you would be doing anyway. So can you use the same cloth nappies on bottoms as you do on hands and face? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can, but it is personal preference. So I do. I find that I trust my wash routine. I wash mine with cloth nappies, and if I was going to use different ones for hands and face and then put them in the wash with the cloth nappies, that just, it doesn't really make sense. We do a really thorough wash with a lot of detergent, so I really trust that they are getting clean enough to use on hands and face. So that's fine by me. But if that icks you out, then you can buy, for example, from Cheeky Wipes, they do coloured ones. So you could have coloured ones for hands and face and just throw that in with your usual dark washing, and then save ones that you use for bottoms or to be washed separately. That would be absolutely fine. So that is just personal preference. What wipes do I use personally? I've mentioned Cheeky Wipes quite a lot. They're quite a well-known brand, but I did, for my second baby, I needed a few more wipes. So I bought these muslin ones, and I really recommend them. When they came, I thought, oh my God, they're so much bigger. I'll just compare. So that's a Cheeky Wipe compared to a muslin wipe. And I thought, oh, they're too big. I even debated sending them back, decided against it and kept them to use. And they work so well for wiping bottoms. So I now keep the Cheeky Wipes, smaller ones, when I'm going out and about, because they fit more in a small bag. So that works quite well. And I keep the muslin ones at home, especially if there's runny newborn poo. They work so well at cleaning that up. The next question is, can you use them on newborns? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. Please use them on your newborns, because often disposable wipes are recommended to not be used in the first few weeks on a newborn, because newborns have got very sensitive skin. So you're recommended to use cotton wool and water. And with newborn poo, especially that meconium poo that comes out the first day or so, which is like thick tar, I cannot tell you or emphasize enough how impossible it is to clean up with cotton wool. It's just ridiculous. So having a little bowl with water and dipping cotton wool in and using, but you can use cloth wipes. Don't use any kind of essential oil with a newborn. I just used water, and it works really well for cleaning up newborns. They're gentle on newborns. Fine, I really suggest you go with that over cotton wool. Another worry I get from some parents is that they can feel a bit hard. And like now they've just come out of the wash and been dried, just air dried, so they do feel a bit rough. That is nothing to worry about, because as soon as you wet them, they feel soft again. So they may seem a bit hard on their own, but wet, they become really soft. And if you do worry about it and you've got to tumble dry, you can tumble dry them a bit to soften them up, but it's not necessary. As soon as you wet them, you wouldn't be able to tell which one felt harder before and which one felt softer. So nothing to worry about. We'll address staining, and you may think, why do I have cloth wipes that are white when I'm using them on pooey bottoms? And often the ones sold for hands and face are the colourful ones, so why do we use white ones? And I don't know the answers to that, but I do know that they never stain and it's nothing to worry about. I've been using these particular muslin wipes. I've been using for 7 months now on my little boy. I bought them just before he was born because we needed some extras, and there's not a stain on any of them. If you do get any staining, just throw them back in the wash or put them out in the sun, and that will get staining off, especially with maybe, like I said, the meconium poo. It's a bit yucky, the meconium poo, but it does wash out absolutely fine, so you don't need to worry about using cloth wipes and having staining with those. The only time I have a problem with staining is when I use the wipes to wipe spaghetti bolognese off my children's face, and everyone knows what spaghetti bolognese stains look like. So maybe go for the colourful wipes if you eat a lot of spaghetti bolognese. I'll also address whether you need to soak the wipes. With the Cheeky Wipes box, when you get it, they say to put the water in it. So you might be thinking, well, if they're recommending you have water in there and you soak them, should I be doing that? And it's completely not necessary in my opinion, because it's not recommended to soak cloth nappies either. Modern cloth nappies don't need to be soaked, and a normal wash routine will clean them absolutely fine. Soaking can actually reduce the life of the nappies, and it's just a bit yucky. You've got to deal with yucky water then, and it can go smelly. Like, you also will just need to make sure if you're taking these out and about that you need something to carry them back in, like a dirty bag. So I have two, like I said, I've got one little wipes bag that I put my wipes in clean, and then I've got one of these bigger bags that I put all my dirties in, and the only reason it's bigger is because I put cloth nappies in it as well. You could just have two small bags, make sure you have, you know, which one's for dirty, which one's for clean, and then when you've used them you put them in the dirty bag. Make sure you unzip the bag when you put it in the wash so that they come out of the bag in the wash and get all washed. There's no need to ever touch the dirty wipes again. If I was using cloth wipes and not cloth nappies, which I'm sure in the future I will be as my children potty train, and then I will still use my cloth wipe, then I will just use a wet bag. I probably won't faff around with using a dirty box because they take up room, just a little bit more faff. You've got to clean them out. I find it really easy to just have a dirty bag, unzip it, put it in the wash. You can just hang them on the back of the door or somewhere out of the way, and that works really well, and they keep all the smells in. So even if you have used them for poo bottoms, there will be no smells. But use my tip, like I said, of using tissue first to get any dirtiness off, and then you can use a clean one to make sure everything's nice and clean. Another brilliant reason for you to start using reusable wipes is the amount of money you're going to save. So I worked out on about 50 wipes I spent around £30. Those wipes have so far lasted me 3 years, and I fully expect them to last me longer. Now, I've worked out the average parent spends £150 a year on disposable wipes. £150 a year. Which means so far I've already saved, so I've been using them for 3.5 years, I've saved about £500 on disposable wipes. Now, you probably don't notice that week to week. You chuck a couple of bags of wipes in the shopping trolley and they cost you, what, a couple of quid each. That doesn't seem much, but you add it up over the year. I would much rather that money be in my pocket than the pockets of huge companies that are making a lot of money from disposable wipes that are clogging up our sewers, that are damaging our environment, that are ending up in the sea, and let's face it, not doing as good a job as a cloth wipe. Which brings me on to the point that you're also never going to run out. I have about 50 wipes, and it is very, very rare that I get down to the last wipe before the wash comes out. So we wash every 2 to 3 days, and I never ever run out of wipes. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope I've convinced you that reusable wipes are the way to go environmentally, practically. They're soft and gentle on babies' bottoms. You don't need to worry about what's going on bottoms. It's just water, which, by the way, if you're wondering, works perfectly well. And they are honestly my favourite switch I have ever made. It wasn't even a switch. I started using them before I had children, so they were just part of our lives, and I've never bought a disposable pack and never will need to again. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like if you so wish, please do, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.